And you're spearheading that in the state. You're heading the BRAC, preparing for the BRAC, getting us ready for that.
Well, and I've got a great team, representatives from each of the 4 base areas. The commanders of bases can't be involved, but supporters of the respective. And so we've got a task force, and Montgomery is very capably represented with Lieutenant General Sams and Nim Frazier, and certainly Todd Strange is an advocate. But anyway, we're all clued in, and we're all working to get our each base really in ship-top shape.
Yeah.
Because when BRAC comes, nobody really knows when, we've got to be prepared to keep what we have and hopefully attract some new missions. Now, what are we doing in the state level, in the legislature this time? We passed 2 bills. Representative Paul Moore passed one, or sponsored one, that passed the House and the Senate. That
He's from Enterprise.
and it provides that Representative Paul Lee is from
Dothan.
From Dothan. And they
Had
passed
him on the show, yeah.
one of them sponsored a bill that allows for in-state recognition and acceptance of academic or professional licensing skills that a soldier has gotten while in service back here in Alabama. And the other bill that was sponsored allows for active military, their dependents, their spouse, to have in-state college tuition while assigned to Alabama. Military friendly, again making it easy for military families to locate and thrive here.
Katie, Kay, that is just so important to the state. I'm so glad you've taken an interest in doing that, because the economic impact of those 4 bases on the state of Alabama is enormous.
And it's not only just the military folks, but they are the magnet for all of the private industry, whether it be aerospace firms, of which we've got 330 in the state, and the magnet, just like Airbus in aviation manufacturing. Wow. It's going to have tier 1 suppliers too.
You're right. Talking about that economic impact that you and I are talking about in Huntsville and Fort Rucker and the Wiregrass and here in Montgomery with Maxwell Gunner. Todd, Mayor Strange brought this out too. He said, Steve, that doesn't even recognize the retirees who stay here. That economic impact, I mean, you look around your neighborhoods in Montgomery or Enterprise and Dothan, there's an enormous number of military retirees who say, well, I like it here. I like the climate, I'm close to the beach and it's, a friendly environment. This town, Montgomery, is full of military retirees.
Yes, we're 420,000 in the state.
420,000 military retirees in Alabama? That's 10% of the population, almost, isn't it? I did not know that. That was one thing that Todd sat there and brought me. He said, Steve, you don't realize the importance of military retirees in this state. They come here at Maxwell Gunner, they're all officers, a lot of them are officers, and they just decide they want to stay here.
Buy a home, build a house, buy cars.
Yeah.
Contribute mightily to our culture and our society. And
it's amazing. Kay, now you've touched on 2 things you've been very, very involved in. The BRAC thing, which is great, and also the spearheading of the
21st Global
21st Global,
Workforce.
the making an emphasis on technology and technical jobs. You've also been involved with childhood hunger. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Ending child hunger in Alabama is the first initiative that Auburn University's newly established Hunger Solutions Institute adopted. And I'm proud to be their spokesperson. We kicked off last April with an event out here at Wares Ferry Elementary School. The students out there are planting gardens to learn about the food cycle and what it means to grow your own food, et cetera, et cetera. And then in June, we were down at Mobile at the Bay Area Food Bank and Summer Lunch Program. That is huge. That is a model to be emulated all over this state. And end of this month, in July, we'll be in Auburn for another initiative. The deal is food insecurity. That means people don't know if they're going to get a meal or where it's coming from. Now, that kind of food insecurity is something you think of only in foreign countries, and people take trips and go on to help the poor, the needy abroad. But we got them right here, Steve, in Montgomery, Alabama, in our neighborhoods, in Troy, in Auburn, right around the corner. hungry children. We got a third of our children in this state don't know where their next meal. See, in the summertime, I mean,
But in the school year, they got school lunch programs.
but in the summertime, or even after school during the school year, what then? One meal a day is not right.
No.
And so this child hunger becomes a health problem. It becomes an education problem. It impacts problem to workforce development. So the joy is the whole situation is easily preventable. We can end child hunger just by more attention being called to it, better utilization of existing tools, and implementation and coordination. So you get the volunteers that are already doing wonderful work in all of our food banks, et cetera, and we share these needs and opportunities. I was in a planning session, and Dr. Tommy Bice was with us, and the gentleman that runs Mobile Bay Food Bank said for the summer they needed 2 lunchrooms somewhere, just a space, so they could serve the food. And Dr. Bice said, "You just need 2 lunchrooms?" And he said, "Yeah, in South Alabama, sure do." He said, "That's not a problem. Just tell me when and where, you know." So once you get people together and they understand, it's a no-brainer. So it's a totally preventable problem.
That's good.
And we call it Ending Child Hunger in Alabama. So Auburn's my alma mater, as you know, and I'm proud to be the spokesman for Ending Child Hunger in Alabama.
Okay, talking about you being from alma mater, being Auburn. You know, I've done a column on this, and it's very interesting. When you and I were growing up in Alabama, everybody had the same profile for being in politics in Alabama. You are the only statewide office holder right now that probably had even a idea you might be in politics. I mean, you had a normal, progressive political. You were in Girl State and then went to Auburn. Your counterparts, Dr. Bentley, was a scientist. He went to Alabama, but he was a medical doctor. He had no idea at 21 years old he'd be governor of Alabama. That was
Well,
the first I
neither did
didn't
I when I finished Girl State. What Girl State did for me, and yes, I was proud to get elected lieutenant governor. Then I went to Auburn.
You lieutenant governor of Girl State? I love it.
And went to Auburn and was active in student government there and became vice president of the student body and presided over the Senate theater. But entering politics was not my thing. But what Girl State did teach me so very candidly was the importance of public service.
Yeah.
Now, there are all kind of avenues of public service.
Right.
So I started off in teaching and then banking and then economic
Merchants
development.
Bank in Mobile.
Then ADO, and one thing and another. So public service is not just an elected position. It can be. And then as situations came up and appeared, and I did decide to throw my hat in the ring for state treasurer.
But you were well qualified treasurer.
That's right.
You'd been a banker and ADO and everything else. But Kay, talk about that Girl State thing. You know, you and I have talked over the years about that. I went to Boys State,
Right.
and I spoke to Boys State last 3 years, talking politics with them. But you know, I don't know how many statewide office holders or even senators. The ones I know, you had a very strong Girl State experience. You've been involved with Girl State since you left, so you've been a real advocate of Girl State. I know Kelly Wise went to Girl State. She told me she went to Girl State on the Supreme Court. Who else?
Sue Bell Cobb went.
Did Sue Bell go? Okay, I was going to ask you if Sue Bell went to Girl State from Evergreen.
Yeah, and her daughter was there this year.
And her daughter went this year.
And was elected Chief Justice.
Is that right? Well, that's interesting. So you went, Kelly Wise went, Sue Bell Cobb went, and her daughter was Chief Justice. Now, do you know any other females went to Girl State and state politics?
No, I don't.
Now, I know on the boys' side that Tom Parker on the Supreme Court went the year I went. We went boys' state together.
See, at Girl State, we don't teach politics.
Right.
We teach the 350 delegates how to be effective citizen leaders.
Right.
Well, you can be an effective citizen leader without being an elected position.
Yeah.
You can also be an effective citizen leader in an elected position. So we give them the broad brush. We don't do politics, and we don't.
You've been doing it since before you lieutenant governor, going back to Girl State as a counselor.
Oh, yeah. But my passion is to get these young ladies engaged in becoming effective citizen leaders.
Tell me the story again. Tell our viewers the story of Kathy Randall. Kathy Johnson. Kathy Johnson, now tell, this is so interesting to me.
She was a senior
at Shades Valley High School.
the year I did my practice teaching at Shades Valley.
Uh-huh.
In high school, she had gotten every honor
Yeah.
there was to get. She was in my homeroom at Shades Valley. So when springtime went on, I just sought her out and I said, "Now, Miss Johnson, I know you're going to Girls State. What do you plan to run for?"
She was already going to go.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
she'd been selected.
Now, there's only one girl from the school going. See, boys have 2 or 3, but there's only one girl from each high school still.
And I said, what office do you plan to seek? She said, "Oh, I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified." I said, "Miss Johnson, you've just gotten every honor Shades Valley has to give."
Which is a big high school.
Big high school. I said, "Oh, yes, ma'am, you are. You're going to run for governor." "Oh, no, ma'am, I can't do that." Time goes on, we show up at Girls State. Lucky to have it, she was assigned upon registration to 3rd floor Ligon at Huntington. That was my floor. I was going to be her counselor.
Not even knowing.
So when I met her and I said, "Okay, where's your campaign material?" I didn't bring any. I'm not qualified, Miss Ivey. I said, "Miss Johnson,
you didn't call her Kathy, call her Miss Johnson.
your car is still parked out there. Girls State hadn't begun. You get in and go down here to Walmart. You get your supplies. You come back here because, young lady, you are running for governor." Well, she did. Long story short, she was elected. And then she was also selected to go to be one of the 2 U.S. senators to go to Washington, D.C. to Girls Nation.
And then she married Pettis Randall, who was president of Boys Nation. Who was president.
Pettis and I went to Boys State and Girls Nation, Boys Nation together.
So you went to Girls Nation also, as lieutenant governor of Girls State.
You run, I mean, they select
okay.
the U.S. senators.
Okay.
And so then we got busy and introduced Kathy.
Did you introduce them together?
No, Lucy Jordan did.
Okay.
From Tuscaloosa.
And then Pettis' child and the son and daughter, their son and daughter.
I believe both daughters got to go to Girls State, and both daughters were elected lieutenant governor. Governor. I know one was, and I know Pet was.
Yeah, the boy was. Well, Kate, I love that story of Girls State, but yeah, I want to commend you for your work on your 3 projects you worked on, and commend you for an excellent first term, but our time's up.
Well, I've sure enjoyed being with you.
It goes by in a hurry, doesn't it? I just hate that we didn't have more time, but folks, our guest tonight has been Lieutenant Governor Kay Ivey, who is finishing her first term. Well, she's got another year left in her first term. She's been our guest 4 or 5 times, and we hope she'll come back again and be with us. And we hope you folks will watch again next week and come on and join us again for Alabama Politics. Again, we thank our guest, Kay Ivey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, a production of Troy University Television. Opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Troy University, its administration, faculty, staff, or students.